I got the mic working now, so we should be streaming again any second. Well, after the 30-second delay. I don't know why. Like sometimes it decides that just not to use my mic, and then I have to fiddle with the settings. And then I always forget to check it because I set everything up the same way every time. So I assume that it works, and then for some reason it doesn't. Sorry, everyone. I'm incompetent.
No, you're not. Don't be silly.
Well, I'm incompetent with getting my mic to work.
If you used XSplit, this wouldn't be a problem.
Well, right now we're kind of short of computers, so Nathan is using my PC, and I don't think he wants to use a Mac instead of a PC. So,
what sensible person would?
I mean, I guess you're saying Matt and I aren't sensible people.
I'm not. I did not make that statement. I didn't say anything of the sort. There was no indictment against you or Matt's sensibility. Your mic is good. And I'm being told, since I didn't do my homework, I can't say that people are losing their shit, but there's an online petition to cancel the game. So I'm pretty sure I can accurately assess the situation without actually knowing fuck all about the game, apparently. And I don't know what the issue was with his mic.
It's just XSplit, or not XSplit, OBS settings are just... sometimes it decides that the mic is working, and some days it doesn't. And then I don't notice until someone tells me. Because you can hear me on Skype, I assume everything's working fine, but then OBS isn't picking up the mic even though Skype is, and etc. Yeah.
Last I checked on this Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime Federations is the game name. The like to dislike ratio was like 1 like for every 20 dislikes. And everyone I've seen talk about it on Twitter has been not happy about it. Another being is crap, but canceling a next to finished game. Apparently they had a more finished Metroid game that they canceled in place of this one. I don't know. Nintendo has kind of lost my business with their stance with YouTube and stuff, so... Splatoons looks interesting. Have you seen anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that I've been like following it or anything, but I think it's the kind of thing that my fiance and I would play together, so I mean, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks fun. Looks like it's a light-hearted PvP game.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool.
It could be a pretty fun party game.
Mm-hmm.
So I will probably get it at some point. I need to get a Wii U as well.
Apparently, Splatoon has physical DLC though. Are you saying like?
That's like the most oxymoron thing I've heard all week.
I think he's meaning the amiibos.
Oh, I'm just not gonna get on the amiibo bandwagon. Basically, like that's just.
Yeah, I don't.
That's just not something I'm gonna like.
Play Smash Brothers amiibos. It's like, I get that you're like leveling up your NPCs, but it's just a big cash grab.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with Nintendo grabbing people's cash, and in theory, like as a business owner, it's like, okay, well, you know, I'm not all about like, you know, profit at the sake of everything else, but like, okay, they came up with a good business model, like kudos to them.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Like I'm not gonna get on board because I guess I realized that if I did start collecting amiibos, like I wouldn't stop until I had them all. So it's just like, well, I think I would rather spend money on other things.
Right. Makes sense. I don't have the space to have an amiibo collection, and like I said, I don't really have any intent or interest in buying too many more Nintendo properties.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to play the Zelda games, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to give money to. I'm one of those people. I don't give money to businesses that do practices that I don't agree with, because I understand as a business, money speaks louder than your voice. And if you don't like something that the company is doing, then you don't spend money on the company because they'll.
And you're still talking about their policies about YouTube and everything.
Their policies about YouTube and streaming and just this very archaic sensibility of how the internet reacts and interacts with business in general. As someone who essentially works on the internet in various capacities, it's like you don't understand that the paradigm in working is changing, and you shouldn't be. I mean, you shouldn't be rewarded for that thinking. When you're telling people who are making you tons and tons of money off of what is essentially free advertising, then if you don't want the advertising, then why should I give you the money?
Mm-hmm.
So, Doom wants you to explain something.
Explain something specific, or?
Oh, explaining the tower. He says, "Are you working the serpent into the tower head?"
Secrets, Doom, secrets.
There you go. He explained it. Is a serpent speared by the unicorn or something?
Secrets, Doom, secrets.
Secret, Doom. There you go. So I think if we speak Baker, and I think that both of us do, I think you might be on the money.
I mean,
secrets.
What I would what I would say is that there are a bunch of people out there who don't know the lore, and they're probably not watching the stream. I think everyone who watches the stream knows what's up, but I'm wanting to be more and more secretive, I think, as time goes on, and we just kind of we put some of that in the Kickstarter campaign. I think we were excited. We weren't really thinking ahead of oh, these are things we'll reveal in the story. We just hadn't even gotten that far and had never really planned something like this before, where you would want there to be lore secrets and big reveals and things like that. So, so I'm gonna try to be more secretive as time goes on, which is, you probably want to be more secretive up front, and I just didn't manage to do that. But
knowing as much as I know about everything, I think you're in a good position. I think you've been secretive for quite a bit. That's just me.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on behind the scenes that I think the player will be quite impressed with the story. Because I'm not biased. But it looks good. So, do you want to give any comments on what the inspiration was?
For this specifically?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I just realized that the earlier versions were sort of a rambling mess, and there's a lot of stuff I'm wanting to kind of build into it, and it's I'm just not that good with architecture. But I wanted to make it a little less messy, especially because I saw the I saw the Box Trolls castle or city, and I was like, oh, that's kind of what I wanted the thing to I mean, less geometric, but that's sort of what I wanted our Spire to look like a little bit more. Which this is a picture from the city from Box Trolls. So I mean, it's just adding the little lights and stuff, which I was wanting to add eventually, or these kind of floodgate things. Give it more the sense that, hey, this is a city, rising out of I forget if they're actually, they give the impression they're surrounded by water, but in this view it kind of looks swampy, but it's hard to tell. Yeah, the cheese falls in the water at whatever point, but this.
Hold on a second. Did you just say the cheese falls into the water at some point?
Sorry, what?
Did you say the cheese falls into the water at some point?
Yeah, I mean, if you've watched the Bach Trolls, it's all about this, city that's obsessed with cheese.
Oh, I have no
sorry,
idea.
I like that was probably like way out of context, I know, but like basically this giant cheese wheel rolls down the, bounces down the hill and like ends up in the water, and then they drag it out of the water, but whatever. So, I mean, this thing is like a big triangle, right? Like it's just, there you go. Like, I mean, which means it has like a stronger composition, and I tend to be kind of bad about like, I think in terms of details too much, so what I really need to do here is come up with like, what is my strong composition? Yeah, I don't want to do the same thing that they're doing. So, but we do have this idea of like some kind of an axis coming up through here.
Mm-hmm.
For reasons that everyone knows about, because you guys are spoiling things.
Well, we haven't spoiled.
You just, I just lost your audio, which probably means you're spoiling something, and you're getting bleeped out. Are you there? Yeah, I'm not getting your audio at all. You may have to call me back or something, because I have no idea what just happened. Unless it's me. Is it? You know what? OBS, I think we lost somebody's audio in OBS, I think. Well, I don't know. Why don't you hang up and call me back, Kyle? Hello? You there? Still no Kyle. I'm assuming you can hear me. I wonder if the stream can. I don't know if we're even getting music anymore. I have no idea, guys. Yeah, huh. Test, test. Maybe one of my applications crashed? Well, I don't know what to do about this. Because like now I can't hear anything, which makes me think that one of my applications that kind of routes the sound crashed, but it seems to still be running. Oh wait, suddenly you're back. I can hear you typing away. Okay, yeah, now I think it was the application that routes my sound. I didn't actually change anything, but I was fiddling with it and somehow it came back. Okay, yeah. So what you're saying is the blame is all mine, and you're just perpetuating my mistake. Yeah, and I'm saying that I think we shouldn't discuss it because we're going to ruin it for everyone. I muted you. It's okay. You can say whatever you want. Not really. No. Oh, well, I can. Well, I don't think this was OBS, actually. I think it was some other stupid thing. Okay, see if... Well, don't... Yeah, stay on for now. Okay, let's try that. I think you're gonna be back.
All right, I'll see. I'll close the program down myself. No, apparently I am not back.
Well, it shows you.
I'm back. I'm back now.
Right. Okay. 30-second delay. Yeah, I thought you would be because I see your mic picking up in OBS. Yeah.
Plus, the music also works now. There you go. That's all we need to know. This will be fun in the when I upload this to the forums. So there was a question that I was supposed to ask, but I actually think that I can answer it. Doom asks, is the Spire surrounded by water? And I'm pretty sure the Spire sits in the spoil, so the answer is yes. And no.
That one is sort of like a public knowledge thing, like the Delvers would all know that, and the player would probably know that right away, that's surrounded by spoil swamps. And
the question relates to, what does the bridge at the base of the Spire do? And I can only imagine it gets you across the spoil swamp without having to be in the spoil swamp.
Yes. Yeah, that is true.
Apparently I'm the lore master. That's what Doom is calling me. Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, what does a bridge usually do? Bridge keeps you out of being wet and mucky.
I feel like that's been public knowledge too, at some point. Probably, but yeah, I mean, so the idea would be like, and again, this will be revealed pretty soon, is that there's going to be some like little hangy something here that basically the Delver cages, well, they'd be much smaller than that, but they get like winched up through a series of, there are probably some kind of scaffolds or something here, but you get winched up to the jail through something on the outside, like that.
Right. So they don't have to go through. They don't have to go through the entire drop, essentially.
Yeah, like basically the rest of this is sort of a what would you call it? Like a quarantine.
And he is asking, how do people get through the swamp? Which I guess, yeah. I mean, I imagine there's a road and bridge. Well, isn't the town of Spire Watch like around the tower as well, out somewhere?
I mean, it would be like kind of way over here would be Spire Watch, and then there's like a long series of kind of dangerous bridges that would go over to some kind of a small fort here where they like raise the cage up from. And then the rest of this would be kind of, like in between here is just like swamp. You don't want to cross it.
Right. Filled with gobbles. Doom said, how the Spire is dangerous. How do Delvers not die on the way up? Well, they've got the winch cage. So I imagine, I mean, they're brought to a series of cages, and then the guards winch them up to the top floor.
I mean, there's going to be, and I need to add some more space in here, but there's basically like a fog kind of from, it's like how we talked about the muddle rising up off of the spoil. So there would be, this is probably all needs to be sort of smaller scale in comparison to the rest of the castle, but something kind of like this. Actually, what could be kind of cool is if imagine the cage is kind of on like they've attached a cable that sort of angles somehow, like there's, I don't know, like I kind of like the spiderwebby sort of look.
Doom asked, isn't the chill like freezing temperatures?
Sorry, what? Freezing temperatures?
The chill, yeah, isn't it cold?
Yeah, like the farther up you go, well, and yeah, the chill would be partially heated is kind of the idea that Oh, geez. Wrong thing. There we go. Okay. So I feel like this is going pretty well. But yeah, the chill has I think we're gonna revise some of the like temperature type stuff that we were planning, make things make a little more sense. But yeah, I mean, the idea was the farther up the mountain you go, the colder it gets, but that the chill has like heated piping and some kind of like arcane stuff kind of going on to keep it from being totally frigid, but outside it would be freezing.
Right. Doom's saying you'd freeze on the way up. I imagine you're not left in the cages long enough to...
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. I like, well, yeah, honestly, I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, probably, you know, even if it's freezing, you're kind of like winched up, you know, over the course of like a few hours, so, you know, you might be pretty cold once you got up there, and then they toss some warm water on you, and hope for the best.
Yeah,
they aren't really that concerned with your survival. I mean, well, they are and aren't, but...
Right. That's also spoilery. Magical heating, of course. The thing you said, that they are and they aren't. That can be spoilery.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself, I don't know that anyone would really know what that would mean, but yeah, sure.
No, it's vague. We don't have a Snowpiercer situation, Doom, where being outside. Have you seen that movie?
I have not seen that movie.
I thought it was really good. It's like the world is frozen over because they tried to like counteract climate change by...
Hang on, someone's calling me and it's ringing on my computer.
Oh, good.
Because Macs are now too advanced for their own good. It's like the moment I turn that feature off, I need that feature, and then I have to turn it back on.
Yeah. Yeah, Snowpiercer is like post-apocalyptic. The world's frozen over because they tried to counteract climate change with these... I think they pumped something in the air. I saw 2 movies that had like a similar premise of like, well, we're going to try to counteract climate change by cooling down the Earth artificially. But Snowpiercer, basically, like everything that's still alive is put on this train that perpetually goes around the track, around like a years-long track around the world. And like the people who live in the forward cars are rich and affluent, and the people who live in the back cars are filthy and poor.
Yeah.
And it has Captain America in it.
The actor, you mean?
Yeah, Chris Evans, I think is his name. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. Based off of a French comic book. But one of the punishments is if you do something, they stick a body part outside in the freezing cold, and then they bring it back in and they shatter it.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's one of those dystopian post-apocalyptic films. So, is Baker closing his eyes that often to visualize things, or is he just weird?
My squintiness?
Yeah, Doom is asking. I think it's because I think Baker's about to fall asleep.
No, I squint a lot. I mean, everyone always comments about that when I'm drawing. It helps me kind of like make things go out of focus so I can see the whole image a little better. I mean, it's like if you can see contrast better, you can like see shapes better. It's been a habit that I've had since like pre-college, that I just always squint without realizing I'm doing it.
That he says that's squinting. That's apparently.
So when I do, like, I'm trying to. I guess OBS is actually really behind. I can't tell if I'm. Like, yeah, I kind of squint like this. Probably looks sort of like my eyes are closed, but.
It's his artistic talent. He's a Keki Gengai. Doom. Only Doom will understand that.
What's that?
It's something from Naruto.
Sure. Yeah, it's my...
Baker's too zen for him.
My art and
it's like
superpower.
it's like translates. It's like bloodline or something like that. Bloodline power. Oh, yep.
So
this is slow.
I like this new idea of you know, this line that you get winched up being kind of like a yeah, being attached to these kind of spindly things. Like it makes the whole thing look more which I did want, like a little more what's the word I'm looking for? Not really architectural, but kind of like it under construction.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, the cage would be like super tiny in comparison, like little bitty cage. And I've seen something like this where, you know, there'd be like a series of pulleys or chains kind of on this track that, so you get kind of pulled up. I mean, it would be kind of like a carnival ride or something where you're on a roller coaster or swing, and it like basically the roller coaster has to get winched up to a certain height before they like let it go. That's kind of what this would be like. There's this kind of, you know, this track that this, I'll make this cage a little bigger just so we can see where it's at, but yeah, like the cage would, you know, there would be like a double chain kind of running down and back up, and so they could winch things down or up either way.
Mm-hmm. Right, makes sense.
And then if I make the spoil look really kind of nasty and grasping in through here, you know, basically it should look kind of impenetrable and gnarly.
Right. Just move it along with the delay. Doom says, I guess the giant trying to climb the spire got removed from the lore. I didn't even know about that.
Secrets.
There you go. Secrets. I didn't even know about that, or maybe I did and I just forgot.
I mean, that might if we leave it that way, it's sort of a red herring. So I'll just say secrets, guys, secrets. Yeah.
Maybe I do know about it, and I just know how it was changed.
So we just threw like 5 red herrings at people, I think.
Maybe. Oh, I see. Okay, Doom is already accounting for the red herrings there. Okay, I get it. All right.
We're throwing people off so much that we're like throwing ourselves off at this point.
I think that's what's happening. Yeah. I don't know. I woke up, had a shower, and brushed my teeth, and then I was like, "Oh, it's the stream day." Okay.
Yeah, and then I wasn't watching the time very well, but we started on time.
We did,
minus audio problems, I guess, but
it makes sense though that you have this big winch system. No one wants to go all the. I mean, it would kind of defeat the purpose if people could go up and down the drop.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to figure out a way to have like a big arm so you could winch straight up, but that doesn't really make sense. And then it would be like swinging wildly, like a mile across or something. But having this giant kind of cable system, I think makes a lot more sense of it.
I still wouldn't want to go on that ride.
Yeah. So it's kind of like actually, here's, speaking of Game of Thrones, it's like going up to the Eyrie.
Right. That makes sense.
And I actually didn't see, I mean, I didn't even watch far enough to, I only watched season 1, and I don't think they show the Eyrie in season 1. And no, I've read the books up through, like, halfway through 5, but...
they don't go into the Eyrie until second book. So that's like season 2, season 3.
So I guess I don't know how it looks in the show, but I have a very clear kind of idea in my mind of what it would look like from reading the books. Yeah. When I read, I just sort of like zone out and visualize everything.
The wall looks totally different than how I thought it would.
This wall?
Series. No, in Game of Thrones.
Oh, sorry.
To how I pictured it. I mean, I guess I always knew it was supposed to be big, but it's way bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I guess that makes sense because they talk about the elevator, the lift in it. So, I probably should have pictured it being bigger, but I don't know, I always pictured like 2-3 stories. Where in the TV show it's like at least 10 or 12 stories tall. If not bigger. So I guess, I don't know, visualizing things. I also didn't picture King's Landing quite looking the way it looks. I like what they've done with the set pieces, though. They did a good job with that in the series.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually seen a single full-length episode, but I probably will once it's all finished. I think they said they're going to do 7 seasons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And at this point, they're just making stuff up because George R. R. Martin can't write fast enough.
Well, Martin works on the series, so
yeah, because he was a TV writer for a long time and everything.
Yeah, and he's also doing a couple more things for HBO. So
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, at this point, he's probably making so much money he doesn't have to care. Like, yeah, guys, just write the books for me, whatever. We'll just do the show first, and I'll write the book later.
Yeah, as far as if I were Martin, I would hire a couple people to come in and start writing the books for me. And just advise, because he seems really good at that sort of thing. I don't know how that would change the tone of the book, but that's what I would do. Be like, okay, you 3 or 4 people, you guys are gonna write the book, and I'm just gonna be like, okay, here's how I have things planned out, and then have like a weekly board meeting to make sure everyone's on track, and then just pump out the books and be done with it. That's what I would do.
Sounds like it's basically describing this like Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see the new Star Wars movie, Force Awakens.
I'm actually like, I'm more maybe I shouldn't be, but I'm more excited for it than than my resulting excitement after seeing Episode 1.
Yeah. I was really disappointed.
I was pretty pissed after Episode 1.
Yeah.
Actually, though I shouldn't have been, but I was more pissed after Lord of the Rings. Because I was such a purist. Yeah, I mean, looking back, like they did a really good job, but yeah, I was like a crazy purist back then, and was like I started writing this essay when I got home from seeing it during Christmas break or whatever in college. It was like, the destruction of Middle Earth. They ruined it. Like I had some big overblown title like that, the destruction of Middle Earth or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't be what you call a purist. I thought they were just I guess and I'll get crap for this. I like movies like Thor 2, and I can appreciate a movie when it's not very good.
Yeah, and I mean I think I've always been okay with like kind of cheesy movies, but not like well, I was just, so in love with the books. I wanted it to be just like the books, not change a thing. Like, they took out Tom Bombadil, what? Like,
I was actually, Tom Bombadil,
like, going back and reading it, I don't think, like, I understand, I mean, Tolkien had something he wanted to kind of accomplish and say through Tom Bombadil, but it doesn't really fit. Yeah. It's like, well, we're on this adventure, but by the way, let's just, like, take a little vacation and hang out with this dude who sings a bunch of songs. It's like this giant intermission.
Yeah, I can see why they didn't have it in the movies, but I think Tom Bombadil's important to the overall story of what Lord of the Rings was trying to convey. Obviously, the movies kind of don't mesh with what that was trying to convey anyway. So
yeah, I mean the movies are definitely like don't really kind of reflect the spiritual side. I think of what Tolkien was trying to say through them, and
the philosophy and the spirituality and the concept of a uniquely British fantasy tale, and all that sort of stuff. I don't think the movies are they're action movies. They didn't really have a lot of the nuance or what many people call the purple prose of the books themselves.
What does purple prose mean again? I've heard this term, and now
it's just like overly flowery, 20 lines about how the water was wet, sort of stuff. Like, we get that water is wet. You don't have to liken water to a glistening pond or anything like that. Just focus on, just being short and concise is important. I guess what you'd call busy in the art world.
Yeah.
But
I
don't
think
know.
I used to like
find...
really eat up that descriptive stuff, but I probably wouldn't have much patience for it now.
I mean, I think there's a difference between purple prose and being descriptive, and I think, and I'm a big advocate against the site TV tropes. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but especially like just in an online discourse, people are like, oh well, you know, this has this trope, and we can identify it because of TV tropes, and that means it's bad. It's like, no, you don't understand. Tropes aren't bad. They're just a narrative framework that has happened a lot. So
yeah, well, and I think Tolkien invented a bunch of tropes, or like they weren't tropes when he used them. Like, you know, he got them from somewhere in a lot of places, but and maybe we aren't talking about the same things, but
oh no, I mean we are. It's like, oh well, this one has our elves are different. It's like, no, his was the original. Our elves are different.
Well, yeah, actually, I wonder how many people now understand that Tolkien basically created what we now know of as elves in like WoW and goblins in WoW.
It was Tolkien's work that made those popular, because before that elves weren't like that.
Well, yeah, they were the same thing as like little fairies.
Yeah, or the Fairfolk, depending on which European mythology you went with.
Yeah, like the badass tall elves with bows and so on. Like that was totally a Tolkien invention, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, and same with the orcs. And I mean, look at D&D. They have halflings, which are just hobbits. I mean, it would be reductionist to say that Tolkien didn't have a massive.
And there are definitely inspirations for those things, but people like. Orc is based on a word or a name for something, and I don't remember what now. But Hobbit, I think it's like they think he based it on a Hobbitlon, which is like some kind of small dwarfish creature in some European folklore. But you know, but he made it his own thing. So like whether he had kind of a starting point, I mean, like still the fact that we have hobbits or halflings is pretty like. Pretty much
it's Lord of the Rings. Well, I mean, and the thing is, a lot of people are like, oh well, I don't like Lord of the Rings, it's too wordy, and it's not, you know, every other fantasy novel does what it does. And it's just like, yes, that's true, but you don't understand why that statement sounds dumb. Not to be rude.
And I'm always, like, there are so many things that are, like, inspired by things that are inspired by things, and I feel like most of the time it gets watered down rather than getting richer. And I mean, yeah, there are a lot of new ideas and everything in media, but I'm usually a lot more interested, and the reason we looked at all these, like, crazy mythological references and stuff for the, for our familiars was because, you know, I'd rather, like, I feel like you're more creative when you go to the source, which is usually bizarre and weird and like or perverse or just like totally doesn't jive with our like contemporary media and culture, but you end up with something a lot richer for it. So that's, you know, when we were coming up with like familiars based on bizarre Mayan gods and like, okay, what kind of like funny twist can we put on this? Like, I don't care if no one ever really knows that. I mean, we're working on the update with that stuff in it, but I don't really care if no one knows that it's, you know, a certain familiar was originally based on this specific like god or goddess or creature or whatever. Mm-hmm. Just because it's going to be a more unique idea, because we, you know, basically we threw ourselves a curveball by going back to some bizarre mythological source, and then we're like, okay, how do we if we're the, you know, the batter and we got this mythological curveball from the pitcher, how do we actually hit that and make a home run out of it? And you know, it probably goes into some like strange place in left field. That metaphor was pretty tortured, but whatever.
James says restriction breeds creativity, which is true. But sometimes you gotta let ideas roam free as well. There's no perfect methodology to creating a good thing. Creative is defined by what you can make with limited resources. I don't know necessarily about that. Certainly that's one method of having something creative. But you know, if you have unlimited resources and unlimited time, you're still going to make something pretty creative. It's just, I don't think we live in a world where you can have either of those, though. So probably for the best. You'll have to grab a screenshot of the Spire once you're done for the post.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: it's looking more Dark Soulsy. The Spire. Especially at the bottom, that very much makes me think of Undeadburg.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know, maybe I've just like looked at more things very intentionally over the last few years. I really haven't looked at Dark Souls art that much. I bought one of the art books from Amazon, but it's, you know, it's mostly just the enemies and demons and stuff, which can't do too much for me for this game because we're definitely a lot more lighthearted. But it's I don't think I could make anything as disturbing as they have if I wanted to. Like, that's just I just don't like think in that kind of Japanese horror mindset that they that a lot of their stuff originates from.
Yeah, they're fairly entrenched in European lore in that game.
But I guess what I'm getting at is Japanese horror has this like distinct look and feel, I think, and the like art design. So not necessarily the lore, but the art design has that vibe for sure, where there's just like eyeballs and tentacles kind of coming out of everything, and
right.
You know, everything looks like a mutated centipede or something like that.
Right. More fleshy. Although, I mean, I'm not a big horror guy, so I wouldn't really be able to talk on the nuances of that.
I'm not either, but I know, like, every time I see, like, something that's Japanese horror, it just has this vibe that is, like, it's kind of hard to pin down. But I think it's just, like, it looks more like everything's made out of organs. You know, it's that kind of Akira thing.
Right. That makes sense. I've actually read the comic book to use the American
I've only
vernacular.
I've only read the first one, actually. Like, it started getting, like, I expected it to be way shorter, obviously, because I'd seen the movie first.
Yeah,
and then I was like, whoa, this thing is so long. Like, it was even too long just in the first graphic novel, it felt like.
Yeah, it's really in depth. I've read a lot of the guy, I forget the mangaka's name, but I've read a lot of his stuff. Like, weird, creepy psychic children are his thing.
Yeah.
Doom says organs, Japanese horror. Now that's a trope. It is, absolutely. There are tropes outside of Western mentalities.
Have you seen The Host, which is a Korean film? It's not really horror. It's more of a monster movie.
Let me Google that real fast.
The guy, I think it's the same. No, actually, it's probably not the same director. I can't remember now. But there's also the famous Revenge trilogy. I don't think it's the same guy, but for some reason my brain is wanting to like clump it together.
The Host is like the guy's looking for his daughter. Is like some weird monster steals her in the beginning of the film. Yeah, the director also directed Snowpiercer.
Really?
Yeah. And
is it the director? Oh,
sorry.
Okay, I had no idea that was the same guy.
Yeah, the father in The Host is a major. Not just the father. The little girl that gets stolen in the movie is also in Snowpiercer. The father and her are in Snowpiercer as well, as father and daughter.
It makes me more interested in Snowpiercer now.
And in fact, I'm pretty sure that actor has been in all three films that director has directed. I don't think the kid has. But
well, yeah, there was another movie with that guy in it. What's the other movie that he directed? Because I feel like suddenly I'm conflating these multiple directors, and I don't want to say anything because then I'm afraid I'll have something just totally wrong. But there was
his name is, the director is Bong Joon-ho.
Did he?
And he did Memories of Murder, The Host, and Snowpiercer.
So
yeah,
okay, I'm definitely confusing a few directors, but anyway. Yeah, because I think I was confusing a Japanese director who did. Man, my brain is just like, my memory for this is going because I haven't seen these movies in a while. But there's, what is it, I think the one I was thinking of, there's this vampire movie, but it's like a modern day, it's a priest who becomes a vampire somehow. I forget actually now the story of like how he, but it's like, I mean, he's not just like, he's not a Dracula or something. He's like, it's more realistic, like he has to, they're getting transfusion blood for him and things like that.
You know the name
but
of
I think
the
it's I'm suddenly forgetting now, but now we're just gonna have to look this stuff up.
But yeah, I have seen The Host. I watched it right after I watched Snowpiercer. And I wasn't as big a fan of The Host. I didn't like the ending. I won't spoil the ending if you guys
of The Host, you mean?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Of The Host. Yeah, I didn't like the ending of The Host. I liked all of Snowpiercer. I thought Snowpiercer was a really, really good movie. Like from start to finish, I would probably watch Snowpiercer again even if I didn't have to. I'd probably just watch it again just for the fun of it.
Yeah, I'm totally, like, there are multiple directors I'm somehow confusing, like multiple Asian directors in my mind, and I can't figure out now who is whom. And
let me see if I can find the name of this movie. It's definitely not Vampire Hunter D.
Huh? Oh no, it's
Vampire
nothing
Hunter
like
D?
Yeah, it's nothing that kind of like anime pulpy or whatever.
Is it Vampire Stories?
No, it has a very its name is something like The Thirst, or I think
okay.
Maybe it just is Thirst. Yeah, so it's Thirst by Chan-wook Park is the director. Let me see, that's the guy who directed the Revenge trilogy. That's an Old Boy. That's what I was like, that's where it connects, because there's another guy I was thinking directed Thirst, and
that's
okay, never mind. Yeah.
What's the director's name? Park Chan-wook?
Yeah, I mean that's probably how. I mean on IMDb it's listed as Chan-wook Park, but that's probably like a given name, family name.
The Vengeance trilogy.
I like.
Oh yeah, I know
that trilogy.
I know Old Boy.
Yeah, and they
I know.
I'm wondering if the like Western remake was any good. I was kind of curious.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And it was one of those things, like my fiance and I saw the preview for the Western movie, and she's like, "That looks kind of interesting." I was like, "Oh, you don't want to see that? No, bad idea," because I had seen the original.
Oh yeah.
And she's a little
into, like, violent stuff.
Yeah, I mean she's kind of sensitive in that way. Like she she sees something and she can't kind of get it out of her head, so she has to be sort of careful and just she chooses to not watch certain things.
Yeah, well, the remake was done by Spike Lee, so I'm guessing it's not very good. Personal taste, but I've never seen a Spike Lee movie that I liked.
I cannot think of what Spike Lee movies I have seen. I know I've seen some. I went through a phase of like trying to kind of catch up on those like auteur director classics and stuff. I mean, I don't know if anyone would necessarily consider. I mean, people would probably consider him a bit of like a auteur director, right?
He certainly considers. Certainly considers himself to be an auteur director.
So that's how you're going to be about it, huh?
I vehemently dislike Spike Lee. I don't like him as a person, and I don't like him as a director.
And I don't know the backstory on that, but I'm sure you have reasons.
I mean, I don't know the guy. He may be a perfectly fine guy in person, but his attitude toward other directors and his attitude toward one of his movies kind of like flatlined, and his response was, "Oh well, none of you really get what I was going for here, and you're all just dumb." And it's like, that's why I say, well, he certainly thinks himself as an auteur, because you know, when you're going around telling people, well, you just didn't get my work, it's like, you obviously consider yourself to this high society, high thinking kind of guy, when maybe you are, maybe you aren't, maybe you really, you know, you had an intent that you wanted to do in the movie and we didn't get it, but maybe it's.
But it's your job to get that across. Like, it's not the audience's job to read your mind.
Right, and I guess as
you heard it here first, guys. If Delver's Drop flops, then none of you got it. You didn't understand my vision.
There you go. Yeah, I mean.
No, not really.
I was. Of course, Baker would say that real seriously, but yeah, I mean, if your intent is to convey a feeling or a story or a parallel with something in the real world, or, you know, you're talking about something through veiled metaphor, you can't assume everyone's going to get it from your angle. You have to, I don't want to say dumb it down, because that makes it sound like I do think that the average person is stupid, and I don't necessarily think that, but you have to find a way to convey that message that the regular guy on the street's going to understand, as opposed to just you and your little group. Yeah, Doom brings up Uwe Boll. He did something for Postal 3, and it flopped like 3 times. He's like,
well, doesn't maybe he just make trash anyway?
Well, yeah, he makes trash because the way that the German film industry is even if he makes trash, he still makes a lot of money. But he came on and did like a I'm closing this thing down, and he's like, I wanted to make the greatest artistic piece, Postal 3. It's like, no one's making movies like this. Hollywood is shit. I'm the only real director, and all of you guys are trash for not supporting
that
me.
Sounds like publicity stunt from top to bottom there.
I mean,
but I don't know. Maybe he's just outspoken.
I think it's just Uwe Boll, because like one of the guys who like panned one of his films, he's like, if you want to say something bad about my film, you and I should get in the boxing ring. And this guy's, you know, an internet blogger and reviewer, so he has never boxed a day in his life. And Uwe Boll is like a serious boxing aficionado, so he just beat the ever living crap out of the guy in the boxing ring for like 20 minutes. And yes, Doom's it's not dumbing it down, it's translating. I don't think anyone said that Germans like Uwe Boll, Doom. I don't think anyone said that. No, I don't think anyone likes Uwe Boll, because he's a big fat jerk. And he pitched Rampage 3. Oh, was that it? I thought it was Postal 3.
Something weird keeps happening with one of my monitors, so I hope we're still streaming okay and stuff.
Yeah, everything seems to be fine. Yeah, the groundbreaking masterpiece, Rampage 3. Yeah, Doom's got it. I know he did Postal and Postal 2. I thought he was doing the third Postal. Yeah, the stream is fine.
Okay, yeah, one of my monitors is blinking on and off, but maybe it's just a connection issue. Yeah, this is actually it's really weird, because it's going black every 5 seconds, but at least it's not the monitor I'm working on.
That would make drawing harder, I'd imagine. It would make drawing a lot harder, I imagine.
Oh yeah. So the drawing monitor, but it's just like every once in a while it's like off, on, up over here, so it was kind of freaking me out.
I think you're having technical problems, because I just got like a massive blast of static there.
Did you say tentacle problems? Because I'm definitely not having those.
No!
I have no problems with tentacles, sir.
No, static.
No tentacles in this office.
I think you're having technical issues.
Oh, technical.
Yes.
I think you broke up in the middle of that, and it sounded like tentacle.
I think either my headset's doing something funky or you're doing something funky. And I think it's you.
I mean, you are breaking up a little bit periodically. I think, well, we have been having some weird... Well, internet hasn't been amazing in the office. I called to get the speed increase, but then I also did a massive Dropbox rejiggering and destroyed everyone's life this morning, I guess. So I don't know. Dropbox still could be trying to sync, 3 million duplicate files or something.
Oh, Jesus. Alright, well, whatever it was, it seems fine now. Maybe... Yeah, Doom is talking about the Ubi Bowl movies like Dungeon Siege and House of the Dead, which are all awful. He also did one... I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Baker and his tentacles. Yeah, I didn't say tentacles. Doom is not... he's not having tentacle issues. I might be having tentacle issues, who knows? It's Baker's headset. Okay, Doom is definitely hurt.
It's like what are those brain slugs from Futurama?
I think they were just called brain slugs.
I guess they don't. Yeah, I don't think they have tentacles, but that's what I was imagining. Just like brain slug tentacles, making us both say dumb things and I don't know.
It's a good excuse. We've parasite living in us, which would be pretty awful. I can hear Nathan back there. So next week, Nathan, Vlad, and I are going to do something. Is that the idea?
Yeah, because I am probably going to be gone. There's a chance I could still be here, but probably gone. You guys good for live streaming next week? I got lots of shrugs and a no, so we'll see.
Oh, geez, okay.
Yeah, Visay's ready to rock, so you guys just need to show up and put the headset on.
Okay. I get really happy nappy time when...
You get what?
It turns out to be happy nappy time, about the time of my life.
Happy nappy time. So that just means you hit your afternoon slump?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Visay, what you need to do is call the coffee shop down the street and like pay them to brew a whole pot of coffee and deliver it over here for Nathan.
I can do that. Can you give me the name?
So that he can be awake.
Okay. Your headset is having some really weird interference,
Me?
by the way. Yes.
Well, I'm gonna keep drawing. I mean, maybe that'll be entertaining enough. Probably not, but
Enter the Spire.
Yeah,
is the mix and match with on the different levels? I mean, is it one architecture type build on top of the next? It kind of looks like it.
Yeah, that's the idea. Is that the architecture? I mean, this probably isn't spoilery, but I mean, this is an ancient place, and it's been kind of built over centuries. Let's say that, and people can kind of infer what they will.
Right. Makes sense. Again, spoiler stuff that I can't talk about. One of these days, there will have to be a lore stream so that I can.
Yeah, when the game is released or sometime.
Yeah. Something like that. Around that time. Because the lore is definitely something that I think a lot of people are going to really like. Apparently it's called overtune, the technical term of what your mic is doing. Technical issues galore. Oh no, I mean I'm happy to know.
Sorry everyone.
Oh no, it's fixed now. It comes in and out, so you should be good.
Okay.
So what is the name of this coffee place down the road?
Big Mama's?
Is it really called Big Mama's?
Yep. And it's like the word is something like like big block letters like this on the sign, and then there's like this big section like chomped out of one of the letters.
I see. Do they make deliveries?
I feel like I just cursed this drawing by. No, they don't. I mean, it's just a coffee shop with sandwiches and stuff. I shouldn't have said that because now you're actually going to try to call them and
I was gonna say I asked.
Nathan is happy to buy his own coffee, I'm sure.
Oh, well, I mean, Nathan would have to pay for it at the end, but I would totally call up.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I can't pay. I mean, I guess I could give them my. It's like, yeah, I'd like to pay for this. Where are you? Well, I'm in Arizona. Then they'd be like, no, this is a prank. We're not doing it. I mean, he'd have to pay for it, but I would totally call in like, yeah, they wants like super espresso deluxe. What's that? Just put like 3 pounds of sugar in the espresso, please. Where do you want this? Oh,
that might work.
Send it over here. I'd totally do that. Well, I think.
Yeah, they definitely they know us. They know us, and we know at least some of them by name. So it's the neighborhood coffee shop. There's a new one that opened up though too, crazily enough, on the same street.
Different company though, I imagine.
Yeah. The other one is kind of like they do some distribution, and it's sort of a partial charity, or maybe it's all nonprofit. I don't know.
That's cool.
I've thought about trying to, because they roast coffee and sell it. So I've been thinking about trying to get our like office coffee from them, since it seems like a good cause and everything.
Yeah. When the stream we were talking about ordering you guys Chinese food. Way back in the day. Yeah, I could go for some Chinese food. I got the hot dog pizza from Pizza Hut. To try for the channel.
Yeah.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but it was actually not that. It isn't that bad. As far as junk food, fast food.
Yeah, I just get heartburn thinking about that.
And I mean,
Pizza Hut was never my favorite pizza place either, but
I like Pizza Hut. It's super greasy though.
Yeah. I was always, like, my favorite was Papa John's back when I could eat pizza, or thought I could, or whatever, because the crust was really good. I liked the bread. And then I guess, like, Domino's was really close to where I lived in college, so that was the go-to as well.
Yeah, Papa John's was the only place that would I mean, there used to be Little Caesars, but then they went out of business in Ohio, so then it was Papa John's, because they just started up in Ohio when Little Caesars went out of business. And then in college, the college actually made their own pizzas. We had, like, one of the best rated cafeterias for colleges in the state where I went. And they actually, at night, they'd shut down everything but the ovens, and they actually ran a pizza. Like, it was $2 for a large pizza. Anyway, it was really good pizza, too. So it's like, if you ever wanted pizza... there was a local pizza shop, but it was really crappy and super expensive, and they didn't really treat the college kids very well. Last I heard, they went out of business, because when the college is offering $2 large pizzas for good quality, and you can pay for it with your food plan meal ticket and stuff, it's like no brainer. You're gonna go with the college one. I remember one time, it was the end of the month, and the way it worked was with our food card is you'd get an allotted amount of money per month. So usually I would have like $50-$60. I only really ever eat one meal a day. So I'd wake up, I'd go to all my classes, go in for lunch, and then go and do homework and stuff. And that was my day, so I'd always have, like, extra money. So I remember one time they're like, why don't we just buy pizzas? And everyone's like, well, we don't have any money. I'm like, superhero VOD to the rescue. I'll just buy you, like 20 pizzas. They're like, how can you even afford that? I'm like, it's gonna roll, and the money wouldn't roll over to the next month.
Yeah.
It was just an allotment. So it's like, I've got like $100 sitting on my card that I'm not gonna be using.
Yeah.
So I might as well just stick it down. So, hold on. Doom wants to know what that orb is, but I imagine that's a spoiler, and I think I already know what it is anyway. and I told him what I think it is. So Baker
so
drew.
You guys are like private chatting at the same time. Is that?
I always have Steam open.
Oh,
Baker
you guys.
drew the shape
So you're Steam chatting.
Yeah. Of the Spire and what it looked like before it was colonized. If level 6 is the base, does that mean the last few parts of the drop go down much further? Because the distance from the horn to the ground can be more to the ground or the actual heart. Oh, okay. Those are spoilery things. So don't answer those, Baker. I'll address those later. Because I actually know.
I mean, we're giving lots of things away by saying what the spoilers are and stuff. I mean,
are we?
Well, whatever.
No, I mean, I don't think anyone's really.
How many viewers do we have?
Between 10 and 4. We've been bouncing back and forth.
Between 10 and -2.
I see Kamistar and Izambo, who I know have been here quite a number of times. So, but they usually just lurk. I don't think I've ever seen either of them ask questions. So if you guys are listening and actually are lurking, ask questions because we like those. I have a title from Doom, but I'm not going to pronounce it. I can pronounce
like your job title or something.
I guess so. It's like in German, and German has compound words. Mm-hmm. So I know Führer. It's. I guess I'll try Gemeinschaftsführer. Doom can tell me if I've. It basically means like community manager.
Oh, okay.
And I probably butchered the pronunciation, but I don't speak German, so I speak American.
As do we all.
Well, most of us, yes.
We all who are in America.
Yes.
I mean, not all of us like in the universe or anything.
Right. They should though, because American is the best language. And of course, I know I'm being silly by calling it American when it's actually English, but it's American English. If you've been to Britain, you know that they speak an entirely different language than we do. It's weird. It's weird stuff over there. What is Nathan thinking of doing next week?
I think he was thinking about napping. Was what it was.
Oh, he's thinking of napping. Well, he can't do that. I can't run the stream by myself because I don't have anything to run it with. I mean, I could run it by myself if I had like a new build or something. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But I don't have that. I could do the old builds if you don't mind me doing that.
Well, Nathan has those too. You guys could play together and analyze or something.
Sure. What the hell level is that that's so spiky? I think those are clouds, or I don't know if those are. Oh, I see what he's
secrets,
talking
guys,
about.
Secrets. I mean, some things are just like drawn sloppily because I'm trying to just get these ideas working.
Right. I like how there's like a slant as it goes up.
Yeah, I feel like I was doing pretty well there, and now I'm kind of like losing steam here, and things are getting a little weird. But I've got to try to work certain things in, and it's hard to do at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You said you wanted to go.
This is definitely
go till 4:30, right? It's nearing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a surprise party to go to for a friend, kind of right after. So I want to make sure basically I have to be there on time, or I will ruin the surprise. But I'm like, hey, I was just coming over to your house, even though it's your birthday and stuff.
Yeah, nothing shady is going on here at all. I just thought I'd come and hang out with you unannounced.
Yeah. And I never do that with anyone. I always like let them know if I'm coming, so that would be a dead giveaway.
Yeah. Doom says that you should, when you have the colors and all of the levels and stuff, have like I'm trying to think of the word for that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is level this, with an arrow pointing to where it is as an association with the Spire.
Yeah, we will do that in the someday art book with Kickstarter rewards, and I would like to probably put for sale on Blurb or something like that, where it's like a you purchase and they digitally print it and send it to you kind of thing. Yeah, so this stuff will be available. I mean, basically, once the game is out and we can, here's the art book, like, spoil it for yourself if you want to. Then yeah, I'll put a bunch more info out there, I suppose.
Yeah, once things are finalized.
Yeah.
It's been interesting for me to try to figure out what level comports to which just off this picture.
Yeah.
And Undeadburg there at the bottom. I can't not see
Yeah, which makes me wonder, like, do I need to change it? But then at the same time, I mean, there are some things I'm probably planning on doing that will make it feel different from the Undeadburg. And I guess I only vaguely know what that looks like. Oh, yeah, see you later. Think about what you might stream next week.
Or I will, and then he won't like it.
Give him an assignment.
Yeah. I'll tweet him. Your assignment for Friday is.
Yeah. We were looking at some art from Dinotopia earlier, and it gave me a pretty good idea that maybe like this part feels sort of ziggurat-ish, but I'm not sure how to. Can I do a reverse ziggurat? Like, that's not really a thing, but can we, like? I'm wondering if something like that would work. I don't know.
Doom says it looks like New Londo. I don't agree. I don't think you've been to New Londo either.
Me?
Yeah.
Definitely have not gotten that far.
It's underneath Firelink Shrine. It's an awful place. You won't enjoy it.
Okay.
Are those holes or windows at the bottom?
Sort of both, I guess. I mean, they would be huge for windows.
Yeah. That's what I thought they were.
I mean, I did kind of want them to look like windows, but, they would be like the size of an entire building at this scale.
Yeah.
I kind of like that they look sort of honeycomb-ish a little bit. Like, it makes me think of like an anthill or a honeycomb or something, which is kind of cool.
Right. Is that supposed to be smog up there underneath the spiky area?
That I'm drawing right here?
Yes.
We'll let people figure it out.
Okay. Is that a discreet way of saying if you tell me I'll know where that is?
I mean, it's not fog, but
I meant smoke. It looks like smoke.
Yeah, like it's not. I mean,
yeah, it's not that.
Now I'm trying to. We were talking about actually changing the order of the zones a little bit, because some things like we were working on art for several, and we're like, it actually wouldn't make sense to go from this temperature to that temperature in the next zone, and some things like that. So I'm trying to make sure I account for the newest order of everything.
Right. Makes sense.
Which I think I am pretty well.
Yeah, Doom and I are still trying to figure out where everything is. Although, what Doom is saying, I think that might be too high up. Doesn't look too much. Well, I won't complete that, but I agree, Doom. Oh, all the.
I mean, you guys are probably gonna figure this stuff out, but
I don't know. I think we both have a pretty good idea of figuring it out. Doom seems to be on track, though. And I have the list. So probably the two of us will get it. Will we ever go to Spire Watch, the town?
I thought it would be cool to, but for technical reasons and time and all of that, probably not. Like, if someday we did DLC, I would like to do some minor Spire Watch. Like, you know, maybe it's like a little bitty prequel where you're like, here's how the Delvers got caught, kind of thing, or, you know, got dragged off on this ridiculous mission or whatever.
Alright, that'd be cool. I like that. I'm looking forward to the Halls of Lost Sanity.
Yeah.
Because challenge mode. I imagine that will be post-release, though.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably have to be. And we are talking about actually developing a more procedural generation system, so we, well, because basically designing by hand is just painful, and it's hard to make. The way we were doing randomization just wasn't working that well, and you would design something and then it like wouldn't make any sense. Like the layer, like it was very difficult to design things so that layers would randomly recombine. So you just end up with rooms and levels that were just like, well, just kind of ridiculous. But
do you remember my suggestion that I made like 2 weeks ago for the hall?
I think I have forgotten. I will remember when you tell me.
So, sure. So the Halls of Lost Sanity, for those who aren't familiar with the game, is basically like 100 of the hardest rooms with puzzles and monsters and traps and stuff. So my suggestion,
yeah, like hand design, non-random.
Yeah. So my suggestion was, especially because I'm trying to learn tiled, so I might have some submissions for you guys one of these days.
Okay.
If you want them, would be
sure.
Since it's all supposed to be all these puzzles, make the entire 100 floors one long, intricate, involved puzzle.
Oh,
so
right,
you'd solve one, like levels 1 through 4 would be okay. Well, you're getting these water pumps online. Then in 5, you'd actually return to like a central area where okay, now these water pipes are moving, and then levels 6 through 9, you would actually be like using the water in the next form of the puzzles to do something else, like getting steam vents going, and then so on and so forth until the final puzzle on level 100 would be more or less working through the central room throughout the other 99 levels. You would slowly unlock it. So it's basically like a combination of the whole thing's a boss fight, the whole thing's a puzzle, and the whole thing's like there's this intricate little, like, it's like a Rubik's Cube, essentially. And that's how you would how you'd get free of the Halls of Lost Sanity is actually like, so, you know, compartmentalize puzzles, extending and building out into this massive puzzle, and then, you know, make everything click and evolve that way. That was my suggestion. I don't know how easy that would be to do, but...
Well, since it's all pre-designed, yeah, I mean, I think we could do something like that. Like if, I mean, you know, because we could design one room where you're solving a puzzle and there are these, like, I don't know, there's just like an empty area, and then you could go back to that room and we could fill part of it with water. It would technically be like a second tile file, just using the same layout or a similar layout or something, but...
Yeah, through tile and through the game design, it would have the appearance of you actually doing it, whereas in fact each room is its own separate instance of the existence of whatever you're doing. Yeah. So it'd be kind of an illusion, some flim flam, but I don't know. The Zelda player in me had that idea late one night drinking a bunch of Kilt Lifter, so
Kilt Lifter, huh?
It's a locally made beer.
Okay.
It's a Scottish style ale, and it's basically the only thing I drink now because I support local breweries. They also make one called Mr. Pineapple.
Is that a reference to something?
I don't think it is. It's just I think it's a wheat beer with pineapple in it, so they called it Mr. Pineapple. It's not very good, unfortunately. I mean, it's a good wheat beer. The pineapple flavor is just not very good. Doesn't mesh well with a wheat beer. They also have Santan Devil Ale, which is named after a sports team, which is pretty good. There's like 5 or 6 microbreweries in like 20 minutes distance from me. Which is pretty nice. One of them is in walking distance, so I could just go and walk there and drink and walk home.
Yeah.
I would if it wasn't 115 degrees right now. Basically, you spend all your time enabling the final puzzle through solving other puzzles. Yeah, Doom. I talked to Doom about this idea before I talked to you about it. As things usually go, because Doom is usually awake when I'm awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, because it's not 2 o'clock over there. Spire's looking good, though.
This is definitely the best version, and I think the final version. You know, I'm going to tweak it and probably add color, and then I'm going to do like a grayscale version for the manual, so it doesn't give anything away too badly.
Right.
That's part of the reason I wanted to work on it, is I really want to show it in the manual that I'm still trying to slowly finish. But,
it is 4:30 though.
Okay, yeah, we'll wrap up.